Got it wrong. Okay. Hello, peeps. I had you pointed at my lamp. Not good. Hello, everybody. Welcome to those of you who are live and those of you watching the replay. Welcome to Convos with Carrie. It is Monday, 7 o'clock. It's what we do. We go live and we chat about all sorts of things that help you to live out loud. Hey, Leah Marie, welcome. So every Monday night, 7 o'clock, we chat about things to help you live out loud and get that life of your dreams, get out of your own way, all that kind of good stuff. And tonight's topic is a mystery. It's just the number one tool you need to live the life of your dreams. And I'm telling you, it is the number one tool. You'll understand by the end of this chat. So we're going to give people a couple seconds to come on. And so, hey, Sarah, welcome. Welcome. Hi, Melissa. Thanks for coming. You can't help but look yourself and go, well, I should have curled that under. Whatevs. Okay. Like I'm having a crappy hair day anyway. Anywho. I should not play with it because it's going to fall. Okay. A couple things. Couple things to get started, then a little bit of housekeeping, and then we're diving in. Ready? Okay. Number one, happy belated birthday to my mama. My beautiful mother turned 80 years old yesterday. She is an incredible woman who I'm just so honored to be her daughter, and we had a beautiful birthday celebration for her on Saturday at my niece's beautiful home, Leah Marie, who's on with us tonight. And it was just an awesome time. It was like a beautiful day that was, I think, just as my mom wanted. You know, it was family and close friends and just really lovely and elegant. And yeah, so happy birthday, Mom. Shout out to the moms. Number two, how about those Pats? Seriously? Like, holy shit. Okay, I'm a Boston girl, so I've got to talk about the Pats for just a couple seconds. That game was nuts. Like, oh my God, I cannot believe that game was just incredible. Hey, Pamela, how are you? Welcome. That Pats game was bananas. Oh my God. Oh my God. Like, I know that they tend to pull it off at the end. Like, we've seen that time and time again with them, but I gotta admit, I was in Doubtville during the game there, middle to the, third quarter, whatever. I thought, okay, I don't even know that Brady can do this. Because really, let's be honest, before the end of the game, Brady was kind of playing like shit. Wasn't placing the ball right, getting sacked left and right, which I know is not only his fault. Hey, Kate. Oh, totally, right? Life lessons in that game, like, do not give up. Even when it looks like the whole deck is stacked against you, keep fighting. Like, oh my God, like I couldn't believe it. I was screaming at the TV, much to my cat's chagrin, but Melissa and I both were screaming. It was just, whew, what a game. What a game. Another big parade in Boston tomorrow. So cool. Anyway, so yeah, yay Pats, go Pats. 5-time Super Bowl champs, just, oh man, just incredible. Okay, so there's that. So now just a couple quick housekeeping things before we dive into the topic. The mystery topic. So for those of you who aren't familiar with me, I'm Carrie Richardson. I'm a lifestyle designer and coach. I've been coaching for about 15 years now. Work with clients virtually, over the phone, Skype, all over the world. My clients come from all over the world, and I help them get out of their own way, see their situation with a new perspective, get unstuck, as we talked about last week on Convos with Carrie. And yeah, help them to live the life that they really want to live, because really, so much of it is about mindset, which is one of the main things I help people with, is to just kind of shift their thinking. Because, you're going to prove yourself right. You might as well pick the good stuff. So help them shift their thinking, break things down into really actionable steps, and make some serious movement forward. So love what I do. Melissa, thanks for putting my website right in the comments there, carriericardson.com. If you're not signed up for my newsletter, please do. You can sign up on that website. Free little gift for you if you sign up. And yeah, so you'll get notified of subscriber-only specials or, content that I only share with subscribers. I send out a newsletter once a week. Would love to have you receiving my email. So you can do that there. And then also just remember to subscribe to my live feed. You'll see a subscribe button, excuse me, on this video if you look around the video. And if you subscribe, then you'll be notified anytime I go live. So go ahead and make sure to subscribe to the live video so you can be notified. Okay, cool. And then really, I want you to join the conversation by commenting below. So let's make this a lively conversation. Love to hear from you guys. You know, get sick of hearing my own voice. So would love to, well, I guess I'd still hear my own voice, but get sick of talking about only what's in my head. So would love to hear what you've got to say, any comments or questions about the topic. So now we're going to dive into the topic. Ready? Okay. Can I just get a yes in the comments so I know that people are with me? I know I'm kind of blowing quickly, but this is my pace, so just give me a yes, thumbs up, give me a little floaty heart, any of those signs to let me know you people are awake. Thank you, Limri. Limri gives a yes. Yep, I got a heart going. Nice. Nice. Thumbs up. Pamela says yes. Whoop, whoop. Nice. Thank you. All right, we got it going. Good. All right, so I'm going to give you a couple scenarios as clues to what tonight's topic is. What the one tool is. Okay, ready? So I've got a few scenarios I wrote down here, and when I'm done sharing them, let's see if you can guess what the number one tool is. First scenario. Your friend often asks you to get her kids off the bus. Most times, it's not a big deal, but sometimes it's a real pain in the butt, and the requests are getting more and more frequent. Scenario number one. Scenario number two. Your boss has a habit of ridiculing you in front of your coworkers. That's scenario number two. Scenario number three. The massage therapist is chatty, and all you want is some peace and quiet while you're getting your massage. That's scenario number three. Scenario number four. You're really regretting agreeing to volunteer at the fundraiser. So, scenario number four. Final scenario, let's see after this fifth one if you can have a guess as to what the number one tool is. Number five, your kids go into your wallet without your permission. Take money, whatever, or they go through your purse without your permission. Actually, one more scenario, your mom or dad or sister or brother are all up in your business. They got a lot of opinions about and decisions that you're making in your life, or they're just all up in your business. So take those scenarios, ponder it for a second, and see if you can guess what the topic is. Sarah guesses boundaries. Let's see what other people guess. Could boundaries be the number one tool to living the life that you want? Hey, Linz. Welcome. Any other guesses? Or do we think Sarah's got a really good guess there? Let's see. What other tools could I be describing or could be needed in those scenarios? Happiness. Start saying no. These are good guesses. Yeah. Saying no, setting boundaries. You guys are good. Positivity. Hey, Mary. Yeah. You know what? Really, as I read through your comments, you're all right. Because the topic is boundaries. So, Sarah, you were right. Everything that you guys said, those of you who said boundaries or didn't specifically say boundaries, everything that you said pertains or plays a part in boundaries. So, excuse me, I'm going to pardon the cough every now and then. Still lingering, this freaking cough. So yeah, boundaries, big one, right? Big one. So in all those scenarios, friend asking you to get their kids off the bus too much, boss ridiculing you or making snide remarks in front of coworkers, massage therapist, chatty when you just want some peace and quiet, wishing that you never agreed to volunteer at the fundraiser, kids going into your wallet, mom all up in your business, like all these things. I'm telling you that all of these things, and those are just some scenarios, lots of other examples, but all of those things are getting in the way of you living the life that you want. If you are constantly doing stuff for others at the expense of yourself, if you feel stretched thin, frustrated, overwhelmed, annoyed, short fuse, any of those things, those are all indications of the need for boundaries in your life. So when you think about boundaries, they can be, well, what boundaries are there parameters you put into place to honor your needs and values. So that's really what a boundary is in your life. A parameter that you put in place to honor your needs and your values. That's what a boundary is. And so if you just think through your day, like think through your day from today, and where could you have used a boundary? Whether someone was requesting your time, skills, attention, company, if, I don't know, if, you went out to get the mail and the letter carrier started chatting you up and, was just kind of keeping you longer than you wanted. Someone cut you in line at the store. Just think about like where you could use some boundaries. If you have a friend or a partner or a coworker who just drains your energy, you see them come up on your text or you see them come up on your phone and you don't want to answer it. It's like, oh man, not them again. Any of those times where you just feel like, oh my God, please Calgon, take me away, right? Give me a break. Any of that stuff is an indication that you need a boundary. And when you start to practice putting boundaries in place, it's amazing the difference you'll feel in your life. You'll have more energy. You'll feel more plugged in. You'll feel happier. You'll have much more patience. You'll be more fun to be around. And this is the most important part, you will much more easily accomplish goals and access those things that you long to have in your life. When you have no boundaries, then you have clutter. It's a different kind of clutter, right? So it might be relationship clutter. It might be calendar clutter, right? You're too busy, too much going on. When you don't have boundaries in your life, you have clutter in your life. And when you have that clutter, you have no space for what you want to come into your world. And you have no energy to take action toward the goals that you want. So think about, like, for example, how much of your time is spent on things or with people that you'd rather not be doing or being with. Like, how much of your time is spent on that? And, I think about clients that I've worked with, and I would have them, either send me a copy of their calendar, like a week of their calendar, and we would go through it together, and I'd be like, okay, what's this? What's this? How important is this? Or I would challenge them, like, look at your calendar for the week and identify 2 things that you can cancel or change your mind on. Like, let's look and see how you can create some more white space in your life so you can have space for what you want to come in to come in. For some people, too much white space is evidence of not having a boundary. If, for yourself, if you're someone who feeds off the company of others, or you really like being busy, but you're not taking the action to engage, either with people or work or whatever, and you find that you just have a lot of hours available to you in the day, which I know sounds like a rarity, but believe me, that's an issue too. That vast amount of space can be draining as well, because you're not getting fulfilled in the way that you'd like to. So think about how you spend your day, and on average, how much of that is not what you want or is frustrating. If it's not fulfilling you. So, like, here's an example with a boundary thing. So I talk to a lot of clients who are unhappy at their job. And they're like, oh my God, I think I should just quit. I hate this job. I'm just sick of it. I want out of here, yada, yada. And I'm like, okay, well, hold on a second. Let's think about the fact that wherever you go, there you are, right? So if you're unhappy at your job right now, yes, it could be the job, absolutely. But I always encourage you to look at first, what am I contributing to my unhappiness at my job? Or what little tweaks could I make to make my work day better, more pleasant, more tolerable, like whatever the case may be? Because when you use those tweaks and you make those adjustments, then you can be at your job in a much less frustrated place. And again, you've now created the space for maybe a new opportunity to come through. Maybe you'll find a job easier. Maybe suddenly you'll realize, geez, I guess my job isn't so bad. I just needed to set that boundary. You know, one example I often share with my clients is back in the day, this was many years back now, when I was working in a traditional job, if you will, in an office setting. I had a coworker, excuse me for 1 second. You guys are awfully quiet, so chat it up in the comments. I had a coworker who was very chatty, and she was the type of person who woke up talking. I, as some of you on here know, am not a morning person. I need a little bit of time to get plugged in, to engage, and to interact. So I would get into the office for about 8 o'clock. Again, early for me, but she's wide awake talking. Is telling me all about what she heard on the radio on the way in and everything that she did that morning before she even came into work. And I would find she was a lovely woman, lovely, nice as can be. But I would find myself dreading, like I would see her car in the parking lot, and I'd be like, oh shit, she's here. She's going to be talking my ear off as soon as I walk in. And I would walk into the office with this like energetic armor on of like get out of my face. No way to start your day, first of all. No way to really treat people, second of all. Made for a very long day. And I thought, God, can't this woman see that I am not interested in blabbing first thing in the morning? And I was annoyed that she couldn't read my mind, right? And I thought, wait a minute, maybe I just need to set a boundary here. Like she doesn't know. So, when you need to set a boundary, it doesn't always mean the other person is bad. It usually means that you need to let them know like what's going on. So I thought, well, I just need to talk to her a little bit about this. And so I said to her, hey, listen, Jane, I'll call her Jane. I know you're a morning person. I am so not a morning person. So how about we do this? I would love to hear about your morning, which I really did. I mean, it was enjoyable what she was sharing, just not that early. So I said, let's make a rule that the clock has to hit double digits before we can engage in that way. So like 10 o'clock. Give me a couple hours. I'd like to come in. I'd like to see what's on my agenda for the day, have a cup of tea, like get my day organized and in order, and even get started working. Because that was energizing me. And then, if we want to have a little visit at the water cooler at 10 o'clock, I'm happy to hear about the morning. And so she got it right away. She's like, oh my God, oh, absolutely. I'm so sorry. Thanks for letting me know. And then I felt kind of like a shit. I was like, well, here I am like cursing her up and down for months now, just assuming that, why can't she read my mind? And when I shared with her what my needs were, she was totally fine with it. And so this is the other important thing about boundaries is you often need to remind people of them just because they're learning a new skill. They're learning what the new dynamics of your relationship are. So I would say to her, I would come in, and if she started talking to me, I would go, remember, Jane, double digits, and she'd laugh and go, oh my God, that's right, so sorry. So, if you do it kind of light and friendly, it doesn't have to be such a big, like I got to sit her down again and say, Jane, listen, remember when we talked the other day? I didn't even have to go there. I was just like, Jane, don't forget, double digits. And she was fine. She was like, oh, okay, got it. And eventually, I hate to say I trained her, but eventually I changed the dynamics in our relationship so that we could engage in a better way. And we enjoyed each other's company much more. So I'm going to pause and take a drink and then take a look at Sarah's question. And please feel free to list some questions, make some comments, tell me about your experience with boundaries. Would love to know it. Okay, good. All right, Sarah, let's see. Make sure my thing here is letting me see comments, and it's not. Awesome. One moment while I just try to scroll back to the comments on my laptop. One moment, please. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. I don't know why it's not. Oh, wait, there it is. Okay, the comments are just jumbled up. Okay, Sarah, what is a positive way to approach a person about a new boundary or a reminder? Yeah, great question, Sarah. So here are the parameters for boundaries. Short, sweet, and to the point. That is the best way, and it actually ends up being the most polite, the most effective way to set a boundary with someone. So like when I was talking to Jane, I would say to her, listen, I said to her, listen, Jane, I'm really not a morning person. You've probably seen that I'm a little bit grumpy in the morning when you talk to me. If you could just wait till like 9:30, 10 o'clock, I'd be happy to chat with you. I'd just like to come in and get settled. So let's save the chat until like 10 o'clock or so. Is that cool? Yeah, that's fine. So I didn't over-explain. I mentioned that I wasn't a morning person, but I didn't over-explain. As soon as you over-explain, you invite debate. So you really wanted to just be, you're stating politely and matter-of-factly what your boundary is, and then finding a way to remind them of it. And again, the reminder is, I like to start off the reminder as friendly and lighthearted and, hey, Jane, don't forget, double digits. Hey, Karen, welcome. So I like to kind of start it like that. And that I find, Sarah, is the best way. So again, short, sweet, and to the point. Don't over-explain, firm but kind. That's how you want to set a boundary. Let me see if I can think of another example from my clients. One of my clients has got an invitation to help out with this event. And she really wasn't interested. The people who were running it, she had not the greatest history with, but she had a unique set of skills that made her very appealing to help them out. And they were used to her being a people pleaser. In their past experience with her, she was very agreeable to anything that they needed. And she realized now that she really doesn't want to put her energy there anymore. And so she got this invitation to help them out. And I helped her craft the language to decline it. And there's so much about it is the language, right? So I just said to her, just make it short and sweet and to the point. Something like, thanks so much for thinking of me. While I'm not available to help you out, I wish you all the best. That's it. Send the email back just like that. Because the invitation she got was via email. I said, that's all you got to respond with. Short, sweet, and to the point. She's like, wow, I can do that, because she was really stressing about, how do I respond to this? Like, what do I say? They're so used to me saying yes, and now I'm going to say no. Like, we start to make up all these stories in our minds about what's going to happen. These consequences that, the sky's going to fall because we said no to somebody. So I said to her, I'm like, just send off that email. So she felt a little bit shaky, but she sent off the email and felt really empowered by doing so. And was like, yeah, God, that felt really good. Now, as expected with this particular person, they came back and was like, what do you mean? What do you mean you're not available? Like, we need you. Like, who else are we going to find to do this? And, so she got a couple emails from a couple other people, the whole, like, maybe she'll listen to you kind of thing. So some other people emailed her. And basically we're saying, like, how can you say no? Like, we really need you, and pulling at our heartstrings and that kind of stuff. Hey, Catherine, welcome. And so I just said to him, like, that's okay. You have a couple choices here. You can just delete the emails, delete the follow-up emails, or you can respond with the exact same response. Because that's the other thing with boundaries. The great way to continue to set them is to just restate your position. And eventually, even the pushiest of people will get it. So I said, well, you can either choose to just delete them, or you can respond and just say, geez, really sorry, not available to help you out. Again, I wish you all the best. And you can just leave it at that. And so she, if I recall correctly, I think she opted to just delete them. They didn't warrant a response. She had already responded. She didn't need to say it again. That was that. And again, it was a little bit shaky for her, a little bit scary, but all in all, it was super empowering. And she took a step to retrain those people how to be in relationship with her. And again, these are people she has kind of not the greatest history with. So it was a huge success for her, and it helped to close the door on that past with them a little bit more, which then any closed door, right, opens a door for something else. So now it opens a door for the stuff that she's working on now. So yeah, short, sweet, and to the point is the most powerful way to do it. I'm just going to scroll back here because I know Pam had a comment. What do you recommend when someone doesn't respect your boundaries and they keep pushing you? Yeah. So there are different kind of levels, Pam, of boundary setting, especially with really pushy people. So again, I would start off with a very kind of kind, short, sweet, and to the point, thanks but no thanks kind of thing. They push back, restate your position, like literally verbatim, thanks but no thanks, whatever the language is that you came up with. That's the power of not over-explaining. Because if you over-explain, or even explain, then you really do invite debate. But if you just say, you know, not available to help you, wish you all the best, then you don't really give them much. Like, for instance, if a friend says, hey, you want to go to dinner tomorrow night? And they're a friend that you're like, meh, you know, you can kind of take or leave. If a friend says, hey, you want to go to dinner tomorrow night? And you say, oh, gosh, I really wish I could, but, you know, I've got to bring my son to hockey practice, and, you know, by the time I get home and we have dinner, then we're just too tired, and, oh, okay, well, what about the next night? Oh, well, I think I have something going on. Oh, the next night is, you know, and you start to make up all these excuses or explain, then you're just asking them to negate your response. Well, then what about Saturday? Well, then what about... So, if you have trouble in the moment with a boundary, this is the thing that I do. If I just am not sure what my answer is, I'll say, you know what? Let me check my calendar and I'll get back to you. You know, I know tomorrow night's no good. Let me check my calendar beyond that, and I'll be in touch. That gives me a little bit of breathing room to come up with what I really want to say to this person. If it's someone I have no interest in spending time with, then you know, you have those measures to choose. I can either blow them off and hope that they never contact me again. I can have a difficult conversation with them of like, you know, geez, listen, I am, you know, my time is so limited that I'm very particular about how and where I spend it. And I just don't know when I'd be available to have dinner, but really great seeing you. Hope all's well. You know, maybe we can connect online or something. So I find, Pam, that the pushiest people, even the pushiest ones, if you just restate your position again and again, eventually realize that they're not going to get any further, and they honestly start to feel like an idiot, and they give up. Yeah, so, okay, good. Got that. Let me just see here. Sarah, thanks. Practice is probably a good idea. Yeah, it really, you know, just like taking action, saying no, setting a boundary, all of that stuff, it's all muscles that often atrophy that we just need to strengthen again. So, you know, I talk to my clients and I'll say a good way to practice setting boundaries is to start with a low-risk situation. Don't start with your mom, for instance. I got to take a sip or I'm going to cough at you. I'm going to cough at you and sip. Melissa's coughing. I'm coughing. The cats will probably be coughing soon. So you start with a low-risk situation. Don't start by setting a boundary with your mom. Sorry. Melissa, can you see if there's a lozenge somewhere?
Yeah.
I thought water would do it, but man, oh man. So a low-risk way would be like let's say you're in the store, and sorry, I'm just going to reach in my purse to see if I have something, so I stop coughing in your mouth, in your faces. Talk amongst yourself while I find something. I got something here, Melissa. I know I brought them upstairs. I don't mind if we just have a conversation while you guys are all hanging out with us, right? Oh my gosh, I just saw that Nate falling like this. So Nate was here. Hey Nate, if you're still here. Hi Nate. Sorry. Same issue as last week. Right now I got this big thing in my mouth, but it's better than coughing. So you start low risk with setting boundaries. Let's say that you're in a store. This happens all the time to us, right? So you're in a store. You're in line to check out. Long line. Another register opens. Cashier says, I can help, who's next? Person behind you goes. There's a boundary opportunity, right? That's when I go, oh, excuse me, I was actually next. And I step in front of them. I'm polite. I'm not rude about it. I'm not mean about it. But I set that boundary. By not speaking up for yourself, it sends a message to yourself that I'm not important, that other people's needs are more important than mine, that I'm just not a priority. So boundaries are so important to show yourself that you are a priority. So that's a great small way to set a boundary. Let me think about. So do you see what I mean? Like, try some low risk ways, low risk people to set a boundary with. Man, excuse me. Clearly, my cough is not good yet. Melissa, you might have to take over. She giggles. So, think of, like, someone in the comments, throw out examples of people or situations in your life where you think you could use a boundary. It's so much easier to wrap your mind around this concept when there are real life examples that we can use. So, store clerk is one. My coworker was one. You also want to. Another way to identify when you need a boundary is if you're doing things out of guilt or obligation instead of a true desire or a want. Now, there are times in our lives where we have to do things out of obligation. There just are. But we do that so much more often than we need to. So think about times when, like, even the fastest way to think about it is to look at your upcoming week and go, okay, what am I dreading coming up this week? What do I wish I didn't have on the calendar? And stop and think about, is this something I can cancel, change my mind on? I find with clients, even allowing them to consider canceling or changing their minds is incredibly empowering. You don't even always have to actually cancel, or you don't have to always change your mind. Thanks, Catherine. You don't always have to change your mind, but even just thinking about it, thinking about, like, wow, you know what, I could cancel that. I don't have to follow through with that. I could reschedule dinner, or I could say no to that opportunity. You can just, thinking about it can be incredibly empowering. Now, sometimes I will push clients to actually cancel or change their mind, which can feel scary, but ultimately they're like, oh my God, I have this free night now. This is amazing. So look at your upcoming week, see what you wished you didn't have on the calendar, and how could you cancel it? Or could you cancel it? All right, so Lee Marie says, babysitting the boy next door. It's really not a big deal. I'm just nervous how he will be without his parents here. Okay, yeah. So that's something that you kind of wish you didn't have to do. So a couple things to think about there, Leah Marie, is like you said, you're just nervous how he'll be without his parents there. So that's something that makes you a little bit nervous. If that is the only thing that's making you wish you didn't have to do it, then, and otherwise you're happy to do it, then you can think about, like, what measures can I put in place? Can I have a conversation with his parents about, Okay, so what do you suggest I do to take care of him if he's upset when you're not here? Like, you don't have to be you don't have to be all knowing of someone else's child and their behavior. So give yourself permission to ask them, any tips or suggestions, or even ask them, how does he usually do with babysitters? They could say, oh my God, he's totally fine. He'd go to a stranger in the store if we let him. Then your nerves would be totally squelched, right? I know they don't have family close like me, so I feel I had to say yes. Okay, so there's the other piece of it. That's the important side of it, Leah Marie. So the fact you said, I feel I had to say yes, tells me that that's something out of obligation, right? That, yes, I mean, you are a kind-hearted, nice person who likes to help people out. But if you're doing this for them because you feel bad that they don't have family, even that is okay. But if it's something that you really are regretting agreeing to, then you can back out. I mean, I don't know when the babysitting gig is, but you can certainly say to them, gosh, I'm so sorry, I'm not available after all. Can I help you find somebody else? Or maybe you have a recommendation for somebody else. Hey, Cheryl. Or if you feel like it's not something you can back out of, again, I want you to just consider the option of backing out, because that in and of itself is great self-care, because it lets you know, hey, I'm willing to even pause and consider it. If you tell yourself, I absolutely don't have an option. Hey, Holly, good to see you here. If I absolutely don't have an option and I have to babysit and I have no choice, then that feels like self-betrayal. I really don't mind, just iffy about the whole thing. Okay, then great. So great self-care, and a great way to identify if a boundary there is needed is to look more closely at what you're iffy about. I know you said how he behaves around other people, so that's a question you can ask the parents. Hey, how does he usually do with babysitters? Does he get, upset when you guys are gone? And if so, and if they say, well, yeah, sometimes he can be a little fussy, great. So what do you suggest? What usually soothes him? Or, because, you're a parent. There's always little tricks that the parents know that they wouldn't think to tell you if the babysitter doesn't ask. So, take good care of yourself by making the experience as good as possible for you. If, in fact, you feel like you don't want to cancel, or like you said, you really don't mind, you're just iffy about the whole thing. So I'd want you to look at what's behind the iffy. And if it's mostly the nerves of how he'll behave, then you can take care of yourself by talking to the parents about that. Not saying, hey, geez, I'm really nervous how he's going to behave. But you can say to them, hey, listen, how does he do with other people? Does he get upset? Okay, so what soothes him? What are some great tools and that kind of thing? So that's even a boundary. Good self-care is that boundary of, you know what? I'm going to take care of myself and ask the parents about his behavior. So consider that. You're welcome. Okay, making sure I didn't miss anything here. I think I've got everything, right, Melissa?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah. So, and then in the future, I'll leave you with this, Leah Marie, in the future, think about if they were to ask you again, is it something you want to do? And again, it depends on how frequently they ask you, etc. But, that's why I want you to look at what's behind the iffiness, so you don't get stuck in this loop of just saying yes to them. And like my coworker thinks, for all they think, you are just happy as a clam to do it. My coworker thought I was happy to be chatting, that early in the morning, simply because I never told her otherwise. So sometimes when we say yes too many times to people, we send the message, hey, we love doing this for you, please keep asking me. If you sprinkle some no's in there every now and then they're going to know that, they should ease up on the requests, I guess, a little bit. So yeah, so I'll tell you, I want you to think, I'm going to leave you guys with this. So really think about, the fast way, like I said, to determine if you need a boundary is to look at your calendar and see if there's anything you wished you didn't have to do, like Leah Marie with babysitting. And then pay attention just in your day-to-day, when you feel annoyed, frustrated, that's always the first sign of not enough self-care, is when your fuse is really short. We can make it about other people, but it's often about we are not taking the time for ourselves that we need to take. And so our fuse gets really short. So if you find yourself getting impatient, snippy, bitchy, snappy, any of those things, look and see, where are you neglecting yourself? What do you need that that you're not giving yourself? And it's usually just some downtime or some quiet or some authentic connection. It can be any number of things. So look for irritability. Look in your calendar to see what is on there that you wished wasn't. Consider canceling or changing your mind. Sit with the discomfort of possibly disappointing someone. And reclaim not only your time, but more importantly, reclaim some of your energy. You know, you really need to have healthier relationships with people. You need to have healthy boundaries. So if it's the boss who's ridiculing you, yes, you can pull your boss aside, have a meeting and say, you know, it really makes me uncomfortable when you say those things. When you speak to me that way, I'd appreciate it if you didn't. Or if it's the sibling who comments about your weight, you can say, listen, you know what, it's not okay to comment about my body or my weight. You know, someone tells off-color jokes in your presence, instead of laughing along because it's uncomfortable and you don't know what else to do, you can just choose to not laugh and leave, and then you can maybe talk to them later and say, you know, I'd really appreciate it if you not tell those kinds of jokes in my company. You know, any of these things. So really think about, like, setting a boundary doesn't have to be a big, scary confrontation. It can be a very quick note. My cough is telling me I have to wrap up because I cannot talk anymore. Excuse me. So, hope that was helpful. Comment away. I gotta go. Cough is killing me now. If you're watching this outside of Monday night, 7 to 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time, it's not live, so if you're commenting, that's why I'm not responding to you. But please share the replay, subscribe to my live videos. If my cough is better, I'll see you back here next week. But feel free to comment on the video here, any other questions you have about boundaries. Would love to help you out some more. Thanks, Kate. If you want to email me any topic ideas, Carrie@carrierichardson.com is where you can email some topic suggestions, what you'd like to chat about, get some helpful tips with. And CarrieRichardson.com. Subscribe to my newsletter so we can be in touch weekly there as well. And I think that's it. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Hope you have a great night, and I'll see you next week. Okay, bye.